This is the story of the protagonist gaining the power of creation from the extreme Fox world at the beginning, and hosting the Desire Grand Prix at the Superseminary and the heavens. Keywords of the novel. Man in Super God, opening creation power without pop-ups. Man in Super God, opening creation power TXT complete collection download. Man in Super God, opening creation power latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Desire Grand Prix. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Desire Grand Prix. Lu Chongning, why do you lie here like a salted fish every time I see you? Qilin leaned against the soft sofa, her talking eyes fixed on the handsome young man sleeping soundly on the Grand Tutor's chair, her cheeks slightly bulging. I'm enjoying life. Lu Chongning didn't even lift his eyelids, turning a blind eye to the beautiful woman sitting in front of him. He still lay comfortably, enjoying his own tranquility. With the slight swaying of the chair, Lu Chongning had just regained some clarity and was about to fall asleep again. Qilin pouted in dissatisfaction. Shouldn't you work hard at your age? Work hard? Why do I have to work hard? In order to live a better and enjoyable life in the future. What am I doing now? Pop. A pillow attacked Lu Chongning's forehead. Humph. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Qilin is angry, emotional value plus 100. Qilin felt that her intelligence had been insulted, with an emotional value of plus 100. Hush. Why don't you talk about martial arts? Lu Chongning opened his eyes helplessly. The latter refused to be outdone and stared back, then punched and kicked Lu Chongning again. What would you like to drink? Lu Chongning stood up helplessly from the lounge chair, his lazy expression coupled with the sunlight pouring in from outside the store, instantly putting a golden coat on Lu Chongning's body. Xiajingua Qilin was stunned for a moment, until when Lu Chongning asked for a second time, Qilin finally realized. What's the rush? Cola. The little police officer glared angrily at his childhood sweetheart. Qilin feels very angry. Emotional value plus 150, Lu Chongning is good at everything. At a young age, he used the money he earned from his stock trading to buy a storefront in the city center and ran a bookstore that was almost ignored. Although he didn't make much money, Lu Chongning enjoyed it. He is usually kind and tall, with almost no bad habits. The only downside is that this person is really too lazy. Since using the first bucket of money he earned to solve his family's debt problem and his own store problem, this person has directly started his own life of lying flat. What's wrong, my young lady? What's wrong with you? Lu Chongning blocked the constant mechanical noise, raised his eyebrows, and offered cola and snacks. Lu Changming sat back in the Grand Tutor's chair, staring at Qilin with a smile. It's not that Lu Chuang. This guy got into a fight again in the afternoon. And he was still teasing me at the police station. Originally, these guys were supposed to fight for a few more days, but that Gu Xiaoluan was picked up by a group of black-clothed people in the afternoon. Lu Chuang, I estimate that at most one night, he will also be picked up, which is so infuriating. Qilin said this, her cheeks still twitching while eating small snacks, like a little hamster. What kind of thing? The black-clothed man. The Divine Stick Bureau. So mystical. Lu Chongning's eyes narrowed slightly. According to Qilin's words, have the super genes of Gu Xiaoluan and Lu Chuang been activated? Lu Chongning smiled at the corner of his mouth, finally having some fun. More than 20 years ago, Lu Chongning came to this world. I thought this was just a parallel world similar to Earth, until he met his neighbor Qilin and junior high school classmate Du Qiangwei, as well as the sudden appearance of the system. Since that day, Lu Chongning has often heard the sound of system reports. Ding, passers-by are amazed at you. Whose child is so handsome? Emotional value plus 10 at the beginning, it was still very fresh, but over time, I found the sound annoying, so Lu Chongning selectively blocked it directly. This is his system. As long as there is enough emotional value, the system can satisfy any wish of Lu Changning, including creating a world where life and death are flesh and bone. Of course, the emotional value required to achieve the desire to create the world and change the trajectory of time and space is astronomical. Therefore, this system also has a function to exchange items. Although temporarily unable to change the world, one can use emotional values to exchange corresponding items, dividing the level of items into 5 levels: green, blue, purple, orange, and red. The stronger the prop, the higher the required emotional value and level. Meanwhile, the emotional values provided by supernatural universe characters are higher than those of ordinary people. Of course, the emotional values collected from ordinary people and Qilin on a daily basis are just a small joke. The true essence of this system is the Desire Grand Prix. With the official start of the plot, the main quest has finally begun. Main Task 1. Establish the first Desire Grand Prix. Select participants. Task completion reward. Character level +1, 1 game guide. Desire Grand Prix, a game mode from the Kamen Rider Extreme Fox world, selects suitable participants to transform into Kamen Riders. Defeat enemies, obtain props, win points and compete with other knights to become the ultimate god of desire. Realize your ideal world. The entire process of the competition will be live streamed to audiences from other worlds. The emotional value of the audience is the key to earning emotional value for Lu Changning. Audiences from other worlds even include One Piece, Marvel, Ultraman, Reaper, Yin-Yang Master, Pokémon, Kamen Rider, and so on. The more viewers there are, the more sponsors they attract, and the more emotional value Lu Changning earns. When a world's sponsors reach a certain number, Lu Changning can even obtain the right to purchase the world's props and go to other worlds to hold Desire Grand Prix. Just as Lu Changning was wandering beyond the heavens, Qilin once again pressed a pillow against Lu Changning's face. What are you thinking? Answer my question quickly. Lu Changning just realized from his previous experience of wandering in the outer world. I said, let's go have barbecue tonight. Qilin pouted again. Emotion value +100 from Qilin. Okay, Lu Changning nodded in agreement. He didn't have any objections, but he felt that he shouldn't be able to have this meal tonight. Because Lu Changning remembers that tonight should be the first day of gluttony invading the earth. Sure enough, Qilin's phone immediately rang the next moment. What? Going to the flow zone. It's an emergency order. Qilin hung up the phone and without saying a word, grabbed the police cap placed on the bar and ran towards the door. While turning around, she didn't forget to apologize to Changning, saying, I'm sorry. Changning, I'll treat you to barbecue again next time. Qilin is a girl with extremely positive values, and her love for children is clearly not comparable to that of the country. Tisk how heartless. You disturbed my Qingmeng and even stood me up. Lu Changning's face was full of helplessness. If nothing unexpected happens, according to the plot, Qilin will be severely injured by the airport gluttonous warriors, and then awaken her super genes. Watching Qilin leave quickly, Lu Changning reopened his system panel to check. Name: Lu Changning. Current main world: Superseminary identity: Earthlings, founder of the Desire competition. Current level: 1 backpack. Desire driver, Kamen Rider Buffa identity core, zombie buckle. Glancing at the main task, Lu Changning got up from the Grand Tutor's chair and it was time to set off. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Branch tasks. The power of creation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Branch tasks. The power of creation. Lu Changning stood up, and the Grand Tutor's chair behind him swayed slightly. He walked to the bookstore counter, found his motorcycle key from the drawer, locked the front door, and hung a sign of closure before heading towards the back door. There are motorcycles parked by Lu Changning. As a Kamen Rider, motorcycles are standard equipment. At this moment, new tasks appeared in front of Lu Changning. Current branch task. Save the dying Qilin and eliminate the invading gluttonous soldiers. Task completion reward. Creation power. 20%. Looking at the task reward, Lu Changning's eyes lit up. If you say that, then I won't be tired anymore. Most of the props in Lu Changning's current system come from Kamen Rider Jihu, and the power of creation is the most bug in Jihu. Creating and modifying the world all come from the power of creation. Of course, using this power is not without cost. To use the power of creation, you need to use the ideal heart of others as fuel, and of course, you can also use yourself as fuel. However, if you can accept the consequences of becoming the creation god statue in the Temple of Desire in the end. Thoroughly. The creation power produced by the system does not have these limitations, and Lu Changning only needs to consume corresponding emotional values to offset these side effects. Alright. Let's go. Starting the motorcycle, Lu Changning's figure quickly disappeared into the peaceful alley, gradually drifting away. At the same time, Qilin and her partner are driving a police car, shuttling through the traffic, and it is now the peak time for work. Even police cars have many privileges in terms of passage, and at this time, they are mixed in with congested vehicles and find it difficult to move. Fortunately, after passing through the bustling road section, it is now finally unobstructed. How is the situation over there? This is the first time Qilin has encountered such a situation since joining this industry, and it is unknown how many years have passed since such a situation occurred. Before Qilin's partner could answer, the Q channel in the car immediately rang. Car 143, Car 143. There is an emergency situation at the airport in Filiu district. An unidentified unknown force has launched an attack at the airport. Comrades of Car 143 are requested to immediately go to the scene for rescue upon receiving notification. Attention all supporting police vehicles, please isolate the public and protect them. Their expressions became serious. Qilin glanced at the onboard map of the police car and at the current speed, it should be less than 5 minutes before she arrives at the scene. Even before arriving at the airport, Qilin could still see the sky half red in the distance, as well as the huge roar coming from afar. Both of them understood the difficulty of the mission and the dangerous situation at the scene. There was another sound coming from the radio channel inside the car. Please be careful, the enemy's firepower is strong, and the special operations team is already on their way. Did we really go to war? Qilin is a bit surprised. After a moment, Qilin and her partner finally arrived at the scene. They saw the scene, which was like a human purgatory, with many military weapons that were only seen on TV slowly passing by their side. The soldiers, as well as colleagues who came from other areas to support them, are fighting hard in evacuating the people on site, just like Qilin and others. When Qilin looked towards the center of the battlefield, her pupils suddenly contracted, as if she had seen something terrifying. What caught the eyes of both of them? It is a monster covered entirely in exoskeleton metal armor. The monster is as tall as a 2-story building, with a fist-sized energy core on its chest and steel wings behind it spewing blue flames. It holds a sharp blade in its hand. Sleeping trough. What exactly is that? Qilin's eyes were full of shock. A series of surging artillery fire rushed past the two people and towards the monster, but to no avail. Boom boom boom. The laser shot out from the monster's hand, and the steel giants called tanks and armored vehicles next to Qilin easily turned into flames burning debris. That's it, just a flash sale. Qilin's partner plopped and fell to the ground. A sound came from the ear again. There seems to be only one target, but the opponent is wearing unknown armor and their combat power far exceeds the limit we can handle. Ordinary firepower cannot damage them at all. The monster kept flickering and moving in the sky, facing the surging firepower, and directly raised its sharp blade in its hand. Boom boom. The sharp blade tore through the sky and suddenly stirred up a fierce gust of wind, surging towards the ground like rough waves. Moment whether on the ground or in the sky, blood instantly flows into a river. Qilin looked at everything in front of her. She stood there dumbfounded, her brain completely paralyzed. What's going on in this world? In the afternoon, she only encountered two perverts, and after a fight, the sky and the earth fell apart, directly demolishing an entire alley. It's even more outrageous now at night. Surprisingly, we encountered an alien invasion of Earth. Everything in front of her made the little police officer Qilin instantly lose her composure. She numbly raised the small pistol in her hand, rational and persuading her to leave the scene quickly, but Qilin still gritted her teeth and fired a shot at the terrifying monster. Bullets are functioning properly. Scratched through the air, accompanied by a slightly piercing sound effect, heading towards the monster. Bang! The bullets that used to go against all odds are destined to deflate. Bang! The crisp sound hit the metal armor and bounced off directly. The monster under the metal mask finally noticed a guy who dared to shoot at him, and it frowned and looked at the ugly opposite sex. Earth civilization. Not the owner of super genes. The mechas built that IN microcomputer quickly told it the answer, this is the super gene owner. The female of this lower race must die. Boom. The gluttonous warrior slowly raised his hand, ignoring the surging artillery fire around him, and casually rewarded Qilin with a powerful penetrating ray before ignoring it. How could a mere indigenous blue star be able to withstand its attack? I'm dying. Qilin widened her eyes and a sentence came to her mind. At this moment, Qilin felt that the flow velocity of the surrounding space seemed to slow down. She watched helplessly as the rays approached, but her feet seemed to stick to the ground, unable to move no matter how hard she tried to push them. She closed her eyes. Just as Qilin had accepted her fate, the roar of the engine drowned out her thoughts, and a familiar voice rang in her ear. What? You're playing the role of Sleeping Beauty, waiting for me to wake you up with a kiss. The next moment, Qilin only felt her body leave the ground, and her whole body instantly moved like flying through clouds and mist. With the piercing sound of the locomotive rubbing against the ground, she was pulled into someone's arms. I didn't die. Qilin carefully opened her eyes. A familiar face appeared in front of her, and she was sitting right in front of the motorcycle seat. The handsome young man was looking at the person in front of him with a mocking gaze. Lu Changning was wearing a long black windbreaker, and his long hair had already been tied up by him. His sleepy eyes, which used to be sleepy, showed a different expression today. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Kamen Rider Buffa. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Kamen Rider Buffa. Lu Changning. How could you be here? Qilin couldn't believe it, there were too many unbelievable things today. Her eyes widened and her mouth slightly opened. How could Lu Changning appear here under such circumstances? Tisk, don't be surprised, there's even more surprises. Lu Changning took out the Desire driver. Did you follow me? Hurry up and leave. This kind of monster is not something you can deal with. When Qilin withdrew from the shadow of death, her first reaction was to let Lu Changning leave this place of trouble. Don't be nervous, for Qilin's nervousness, Lu Changning said, it's all a small scene. He looked curiously at the steel monster floating in the air. Is this gluttony? Worries from Qilin. Emotional value plus 100, surprise from soldiers. Emotional value plus 100, the system is still constantly transmitting information. Lu Changning, Qilin wanted to say something more, but was stopped by Lu Changning. You guy. What the hell is it? The gluttonous warrior hovering in the air looked at the unwelcome guests on the battlefield, his tone was not good, and he couldn't quite grasp the details of the sudden appearance of Lu Changning. Lu Changning looked up at the gluttonous warrior and did not answer the other person's question. In his opinion, the other person was just a dead person, there was no need to say more. He took out the Desire Drive and fastened it to his waist, accompanied by a burst of white light. The Desire Drive was fixed to his waist. Damn it! Stupid humans! The gluttonous warrior felt uneasy when he saw Lu Changning's movements. The beast's innate intuition told him that it had to stop the opponent's movements, so he instinctively fired a shot in the direction of Lu Changning. Next is my highlight moment. Lu Changning ignored the flying laser and quickly inserted the zombie buckle into the Desire Drive, causing the mechanical sound effect to sound. Desire Driver. Entry. Set. Accompanied by the sound effect that sounded like a bell, Lu Changning quickly twisted the knob next to the buckle, and a sharp claw appeared on the buckle. The roar of wild beasts echoed throughout the battlefield, and the black armor instantly covered Lu Changning's entire body. Purple venom surged out of his belt, and a projection resembling a demon's claw emerged. Crush out. A set of purple armor quickly appeared from the air, and a violent aura swept around. Buzz. Accompanied by a palpitating aura, both the soldiers around and Qilin behind instinctively took several steps back. As the laser emitted by the gluttonous warrior was about to hit Lu Changning, the purple armor quickly merged with Lu Changning's black armor. The mechanical sound effect rang out again, accompanied by the roar of wild beasts. A purple-armored soldier who was over 2 meters tall and holding a chainsaw blade appeared in front of everyone. Zombie. Ready. Fight. Prepare. Let's go to war. Buzz. Lu Changning kicked the sharp blade he was carrying, and the zombie destroyer immediately burst into a dazzling orange light. The chainsaw-like serrations quickly began to rotate. The zombie destroyer slashed the laser from bottom to top. Saw come and count your sins carefully. Lu Changning carried the zombie destroyer on his right shoulder, with his left arm covered by terrifying claws pointing diagonally towards the gluttonous warrior in the air. Okay. So handsome, it wasn't until Qilin heard Lu Changning's familiar lazy voice that she was convinced that she really hadn't dreamed. Amazing from ordinary soldiers. Emotion value plus 500, shocked by Qilin. Emotional value plus 1500, shocked by the public. Emotional value plus 500, message after message appeared on the virtual screen in front of Lu Changning, and in just a few seconds, his emotional balance began to continuously increase. The gluttonous warrior hovered in the air in a daze, looking down at the warrior below with shock and confusion in his eyes. This. How could this be? How could there be such a existence, just a blue star and an indigenous planet? In its dark plane computer, a series of data constantly appear, but only information belonging to Lu Changning cannot be queried. In the supernatural worldview. Many times, the battle is actually about technology, and the war between super warriors is a war between information and information. Whoever can crack the other party's information and firewall will crush them. Although Taotai may not be considered a high-level civilization, and can even be said to have low combat power, it cannot withstand the opponent's formidable background. Karl, the god of death. One of the few giants in the current supernatural universe. Unfortunately, even so, the gluttonous warrior still cannot find any information about Lu Changning, which is what scares it the most. How could this be possible? Is there any information that Death Karl doesn't even know? Lu Changning caught a glimpse of the Taotai warrior's slight panic, without giving the opponent any time to react. His center of gravity slightly lowered, and he leaped up like a shell. Facing enemies in the air, of course, is the first time to cut off their wings. Standing in the air, Lu Changning didn't hesitate to twist the zombie buckle again. On his left arm, 5 sharp claws suddenly flashed past, and the wings of the gluttonous warrior snapped in response. Bang! The wings of the gluttonous warrior shattered and instantly lost the capital to fly, falling hard to the ground. Now it's fair, Lu Changning dragged the zombie destroyer towards the gluttonous warrior. Very impressive. Qilin clenched her small fist heavily. One moment, she was like a gluttonous warrior descended from heaven, but the next moment, she was beheaded from the sky by Lu Chongning, like a lost dog. He's so handsome. Why didn't you realize that Lu Chongning was so handsome before? Clearly so powerful, every time I go to the bookstore to see him, I feel like a lazy salted fish flipping over. The Chinese soldiers who had just arrived were all watching the scene before them, silently cheering for Lu Chongning. Who the hell are you? Damn it! Do you know the consequences of attacking the gluttonous warrior? How? Your god Karl can cross the Styx galaxy and bite me. Lu Chongning's tone was disdainful. He originally had no favorable impression of the Grim Reaper Karl. Damn it! The god in his heart, mocked by Lu Chongning, was even more infuriated by the gluttonous warrior lying on the ground, roaring in anger. You only deserve to smell my god Karl's fart. Lu Chongning sneered. Ah, right. Your god Karl will fart. Ha ha ha. With Lu Chongning's interruption, the tense atmosphere on the battlefield instantly dissipated, and Qilin and the soldiers couldn't help but burst into laughter. Damn it! How dare you insult my god Karl? The eyes of the gluttonous warrior instantly turned red. The deity in its heart has been ridiculed by so many indigenous blue stars, which is an unprecedented shame for it. The gluttonous warrior got up from the ground, kicked his giant sword, and swung towards Lu Chongning. Be careful. Qilin's heart tightened as she saw that Lu Chongning didn't dodge the opponent's attack, and she was so scared that she loudly reminded him. If I were to be struck with a sword, I wouldn't lose half of my life. Don't worry. The Kamen knight wearing purple armor stood in place, and everyone present raised their hearts to their throats. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Unknown Super Warrior. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Unknown Super Warrior. Don't worry, this level of attack is not enough to shake me. Lu Chongning's expression remained unchanged. Under the frightened gaze of everyone, he quickly slid the front grip of the zombie destroyer. With the sliding of the grip, the chainsaw-shaped zombie destroyer spun rapidly with the thick purple venom. Buzz! The sharp blade sliced through the air, and Lu Chongning easily shattered the incoming beam of light. How could this be possible? The gluttonous warrior looked at the scene before him and couldn't stop taking several steps back. His brain had completely crashed now. Who told him that Blue Star was just a backward pre-nuclear civilization? What is going on with the super warrior in front of me? This level of destructive and defensive power. Even comparable to second-generation warriors. He tried to retrieve the opponent's information from the battle armor of Taotai, but several minutes passed and there was no feedback from the battle armor, which was something Taotai warriors had never encountered before. The gluttonous warrior looked nervously at the other party, knowing that he was probably unlucky today. The zombie destroyer was inserted into the road by Lu Chongning, who looked at the entire battle armor with great interest, with most of the discarded gluttonous warriors. It's really not easy that the two slashes that resisted the zombie destroyer did not scrap the battle armor of the glutton. The gluttonous warrior cursed angrily. Damn it, he threw the sharp sword in his hand towards Lu Chongning. At this moment, the gluttonous warrior rushed towards Lu Chongning like a sharp sword, shooting several red rays in his hands, attempting to confuse Lu Chongning's judgment in this way. Surprisingly, haven't you given up yet? You're really persistent. Until now, the victory has basically been established, and Lu Chongning did not expect the opponent to not give up. But coincidentally, there is a new feature in the driver that I need to try out. Revolve on. Flip open. The Desire drive twisted and the position of the zombie buckle reached the left side of the belt. Lu Chongning jumped up in an instant, and the soldier wearing purple armor turned around like a Transformers. When Lu Chongning landed, the armor on his upper body had already shifted to his legs. Armor has been transferred to the legs. Qilin widened her eyes on the side. Ignoring the surprised gazes of the soldiers beside him, Lu Chongning quickly twisted the zombie buckle. Zombie strike. Zombie strike. The emotionless mechanical sound effect resounds from within the Desire drive, like the verdict of death. Without hesitation, Lu Changning rushed towards the gluttonous warrior, stomping heavily on the ground with his left foot. Boom! What? The gluttonous warrior's face was shocked, but in an instant, Lu Changning disappeared. The next moment, unreal grey tombstones appeared out of nowhere, and the sharp blades and rays thrown by the gluttonous warrior hit the tombstones without causing any damage. What's going on? The gluttonous warrior was shocked to find that he couldn't move. Boom! Without hesitation, Lu Changning kicked out, carrying venom and terrifying energy that instantly vented on the chest of the gluttonous warrior, unleashing a deafening roar. Boom boom! Under this blow, the gluttonous warrior also instantly turned into brilliant fireworks. The battle is over. Buzzing, the Desire driver was taken down from Lu Changning's waist, and a white light flashed through. Lu Changning appeared on the battlefield surrounded by fewer beacon fires. As soon as Lu Changning appeared, Qilin immediately rushed to him, as if she had met him for the first time. She pinched her arm and poked his waist. "Are you okay? Where did the belt you just transformed into go?" Qilin's beautiful eyes kept flowing on Lu Changning, her face full of surprise. Lu Changning blinked his eyes. Guess what? Just as Lu Changning and Qilin were fighting, a beautiful figure witnessed everything that happened on the battlefield not far away. Leather jacket and pants, with a signature burgundy short hair, are the roses sent by Du Cao. At this moment, Du Qiangwei seemed to be reporting something. Lu Changning smiled and waved in the direction of the rose. The rose over there was momentarily taken aback and disappeared without a trace. "Rose. Rose. Are you still on the channel? What is the situation on site?" Du Cao noticed that there was no sound in the channel and thought that Rose was influenced by the signal from the gluttonous warrior on site, so he began to constantly call out to Rose. "Yes, yes. Rose just regained her senses. What's going on at the scene? The gluttonous warrior has been solved." Rose looked at the gluttonous warrior who had no more residue left, her eyes complex. "What? How could that be? All your data on the Juxia ship is showing normal, you haven't taken any action. I have transmitted the footage of the scene back, you can watch it yourself." After a moment, the scene of the battle appeared on the large screen of the giant gorge. In the picture, at the critical moment, Lu Changning saved Qilin and almost transformed into a Kamen rider Buffa in a peculiar way, directly crushing the gluttonous warrior with a generation of super warrior strength. What is the situation? Looking at the battle scenes on the big screen, both Du Cao and Lianfeng were somewhat stunned. Where did this super warrior come from? Besides the super gene warriors brought by the Dino Galaxy in the past, there are actually super warriors from other civilizations on Earth. However, how could this be possible? Du Cao Bai is puzzled. You should know that whether it's Gu Xiaoluan or Lu Chuang, the owners of super genes are basically all under the surveillance of Dino 3. Even if a new super warrior appears, Dino 3 should have a search and display immediately. However, even so far, the data of Dino 3 has not shown any response. Can you find the other person's information? Du Cao looked at the young man with sleepy eyes on the big screen and turned his head to look at Yuqin on the side. Yuqin didn't speak, just nodded slightly. Soon, the information belonging to Lu Changning is presented before Du Cao's eyes. Lu Changning, 22 years old, was born in a relatively remote rural area and currently resides in Juxia City. His parents are both ordinary employees and he is currently studying at a university in Juxia City, where he is still in an internship period. This is an ordinary document that cannot be more ordinary. The only noteworthy thing is Lu Changning's social network. Lu Changning and Cheng Yaowen know each other, and according to information, they both belong to the same village. However, later on, Lu Changning and his family moved to the city. Moreover, after moving to the city, Lu Changning became neighbors with Qilin and they were childhood sweethearts. Slightly older, Lu Changning became Rose's classmate in junior high school. During his college years, he and Gu Xiaoluan both studied Chinese and were roommates. Dukeo's gaze was strange. Is there really such a coincidence? There are only a few super warriors on Earth, and now 4 of them intersect with Lu Changning. Is there nothing else? End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Promotion to the next generation of divine body. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Promotion to the next generation of divine body. No, so far it seems that everything about Lu Changning's information is normal. How could Lianfeng not know the meaning in Dukeo's words? After confirming multiple times, she answered. His life history is very normal, except for appearing somewhat talented. There is no abnormality, and from childhood to adulthood, even the number of fights is rare. Perhaps he is a descendant of other divine river civilizations, Lianfeng speculated. Since the great disaster in Dino, there have been many descendants of the Shinha civilization scattered everywhere. Perhaps Lu Changning and his parents are descendants of a certain Shinha civilization. I just don't know how Lu Changning's attitude towards the earth is. Dukeo looked at the figure on the screen with a worried expression in his eyes. Although he is not an earthling, during the thousands of years of redemption on Earth, Dukeo has already regarded the Earth as a second home like Rose. From the current information, it appears that there is no abnormality in this road Changning. But the unknown identity of the other party still worries Ducao a bit. Did the other party suddenly awaken their super genes, or have they been hidden to this day? What is the other party's attitude towards the Earth? These supernatural seminaries are completely unknown. This adds many unstable factors to the future Earth. How about trying to recruit? Lian Feng asked tentatively. The invasion of gluttony is imminent. Regardless of Lu Changning's attitude towards the Earth, at least from the current situation, the other party has no ill intentions towards the Earth, and may even stand on the side of the Earth due to the presence of Qilin. Du Cao frowned and nodded. The Earth has been targeted by gluttony, and based on its current strength, it is impossible to retreat completely. So, Dukeo can only make the Xiongming company stronger as much as possible, and the appearance of Lu Changning is like sending charcoal in the snow. At least this is a team member with immediate combat capability. Let Rose give it a try. Young people should have better communication with each other, Ducao said slowly, rubbing his forehead with a headache. Just as Ducao was feeling a headache due to the arrival of gluttony, Lu Changning had already slowly returned to his own bookstore on his motorcycle. He casually threw the key onto the sofa in the living room and hummed a tune as he walked into the bathroom. To be honest, the smell on the battlefield is definitely not pleasant. Even if Lu Changning is not injured, there is still an unpleasant smell of gunpowder on his body at this moment. The Earth will become lively in the future. Now the vanguard of gluttony has arrived on Earth, which means that in the near future, angels and demons will also come one after another. Before the gluttonous army arrives, Lu Changning needs to make more preparations. Lu Changning clicked on the virtual system panel. Current side mission. Save the dying Qilin and eliminate the gluttonous soldiers who harm her. Task completion reward. 20%. Creation power. The branch task has been completed. Do you want to claim it? Lu Changning directly clicks to claim task rewards. As soon as the finger lifted from the virtual system panel, a huge force appeared out of thin air. Without waiting for Lu Changning's reaction, it poured down and quickly irrigated Lu Changning's body. Sleeping slot. Lu Changning's face instantly turned red, and his entire skin quickly turned red. He could clearly feel that a strange force was slowly infused into his body, and the force surged through his body, subtly changing Lu Changning's body. Pop it. The discomfort and excruciating pain caused by the continuous infusion of strength instantly made Lu Changning's feet soften and he knelt directly on the ground. He felt like a balloon. The 20% creative power should be the limit he can currently bear. The pain is still ongoing. At the same time, Tianhe City. Angel International Investment Company. The female supervisor was operating her laptop with one hand and pointing to the large screen behind her, giving an impassioned speech. To be reasonable, if it weren't for the fact that some of the senior executives present were people who had witnessed the big scene, they would have almost believed the supervisor's lies. Whoosh! What they didn't know was that at this moment, a meteor quickly passed through the atmosphere, crossed the clouds, and was rapidly flying towards the direction of Angel International. Boom! The meteor hit Angel International without warning, accompanied by thick smoke and chaos on the ground, with countless documents scattered all over the place. When the smoke and dust cleared, everyone present saw an incredible scene, with an angel sitting in the position of the female supervisor. The angel's face was mature and charming, dressed in armor and exuding a heroic charm. The slender thighs overlapped together, adding a touch of charm while also adding a touch of divinity. Break up the meeting. The female supervisor drove away the younger generation who were still standing still, and then looked at the angel sitting in the main seat. This is still the first time I have seen a true angel. The female supervisor appears somewhat stuttering. As a senior executive in the company, she knows more information than others. This is a necessary path for every senior executive, but most people treat this information as a story. If I remember correctly, it seems that your predecessors once said they wanted the faith of angels to dominate this planet. Yen looked at the female supervisor with some playfulness. We tried a different approach. Hee, actually I don't care, what method did you use? Yen seemed indifferent, just looking at the world outside the conference room that had been smashed open. You are about to face great calamity. An extraterrestrial civilization has set its sights on your planet, and soon evil will follow suit. The female supervisor was about to ask something. However, Yen, who was sitting in the main seat, let out a faint sigh because she noticed a strange force appearing within the perception range of the angel computer. What a peculiar power. Next second. The angel had already waved its wings and soared into the sky, leaving behind a bewildered female supervisor. Lu Changning walked out of the bathroom with his wet long hair humming a tune. A new storm has emerged, strolling towards his own room. Changing into clothes and walking out of the room, Lu Changning sat down on the sofa in the living room, silently feeling the new unfamiliar power in his body, with a smile on his lips. The power of creation. It's really terrifying, there's actually a generation of divine bodies. He habitually rubbed his chin, thinking about how to proceed with the next move. Although he now has the power of a generation of divine beings, it is obvious that he will not be able to see enough in the future when angels and demons roam the earth. The gluttonous warrior has set his sights on earth. So next, Morgana and Kaisha will also follow closely. He needs to become stronger as soon as possible before the Battle of Tianhe arrives. He doesn't want to see those cups and utensils from his previous anime. After all, reality is not a novel. He really lives in this world now, whether it's the people around him or his childhood friend Qilin, they are all living beings. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Me. Angel Yen. Blind Date. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Me. Angel Yen. Blind Date. Who, sitting on the sofa for a long time, memories of his past life flickered in his mind, and Lu Changning slowly lifted his head. We need to mix up this dripping water. As the saying goes, if the water is clear, there will be no fish. Sometimes, unclean water is necessary for fish farming. In Lu Changning's view, only when the water is turbid enough can more facts be hidden, so that Lu Changning will have more time to make his own arrangements. Just as the direction was determined, a brand new interface popped up in front of Lu Changning. Side Task 2. Desire Grand Prix sponsors and staff. Desire Grand Prix is about to start, how can there be no sponsors and staff? Please find 2 suitable sponsors and 1 operator staff within the next 3 days. Task Reward. Desire Temple, Participants Lounge, Creation Goddess Statue, produced by the system, 5% creation power. When you're dozing off, come to the pillow. Goo 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 goo. Lu Changning lowered her head to look at her belly, and a helpless smile appeared on her face. I'm just indulging in gluttony this evening, and I didn't even have time to eat dinner. Since that's the case, so let's try the power of creation first. I happen to be a bit hungry. A snap of fingers followed by a crisp bell ringing out of the air. The brilliant blue light flowed and dissipated. Lu Changning had a bowl of hot Lamian noodles in front of him. Tisk, that's really a convenient ability. Of course, with the creative power currently under Lu Changning's control, changing a part of the world with his will is already the maximum limit. For example, create a bowl of Lamian noodles for yourself, or squeeze a super soldier. Like in the Extreme Fox original drama, the actions of General Fuda and Zmuli, who raised their hands to reshape and change the entire world, as well as the unarmed manipulation of upgrade tokens and identity cores, Lu Changning had to wait until he had at least 70% or 80% of the creative power to be able to do so. In addition to the abilities mentioned above, Lu Changning was pleasantly surprised to find that his physical fitness had also greatly improved. Now he not only has the ability to teleport, but also has the ability to perceive over a wide range. Just as he was familiar with the power he had gained this time, a strange wave of energy appeared within Lu Changning's perception range. The other party was approaching at an extremely fast speed, as if it was coming towards Lu Changning. His doesn't seem to be the same breath as in the Superseminary. The Super Theological Academy currently does not have such strong combat power. At present, the Superseminary, apart from the commander of the light pole in Decao, has real combat power, including Du Qiangwei and the upcoming arrival of Rena on Earth, as well as the awakened Sun Wukong. And Morgana will not arrive on Earth at this point in time. So there's only one possibility left. Angel. Sure enough, the next moment. Child, it seems that you are not surprised by the arrival of angels at all. The pleasant female voice sounded in Lu Changning's ear. Yen. Lu Changning raised his eyebrows, and upon hearing the playful tone in his tone, it was probably Angel Yen. Look towards the balcony. A beautiful figure with snow-white wings on her back caught Lu Changning's eye. She had blonde hair, a silver armor, and a small red skirt. The corner of her mouth wore a familiar, seemingly absent smile. Angels. What's wrong? Your Queen Caesar didn't teach you the rules of going through the main entrance when visiting other people's homes. Changning was not surprised by the arrival of the angel. The energy fluctuations when the power of creation descended were so obvious that if the angel didn't even notice the problem, then Lu Changning would feel strange. Shouldn't you introduce yourself before breaking into the other person's house and accessing their data? Since activating the power of creation, Lu Changning's thinking speed has been unmatched by ordinary people. Therefore, at the moment when the opponent appeared, Lu Changning came up with a strategy and took the initiative. I know Queen Caesar but don't know me. Alright, I'm an angel, Queen Caesar's left-wing guard, Angelico, little child, I can't see through you, you're very interesting. She looked at the unexpected joy she faced and realized that awakening the super gene required a lot of energy and resources. It was obvious that Lu Changning's super gene was not the work of the Super Theological Academy. So, where did the other party come from to awaken the energy and resources of the super gene? What surprised Yen even more was the other party's strength is not as strong as hers, but she just can't see through them. There is a powerful and mysterious force blocking her visit. Faced with Yan's teasing, Lu Changning shrugged his shoulders without hesitation. Tell me, this angel sister, what exactly is your purpose in coming to me for? Lu Changning does not believe that the awakening of an unknown supergene alone will attract the attention of the prominent Kaisha left guard, who clearly has some other motives. The civilization of angels has been established for thousands of years, all composed of beautiful women. We have devoted our lives to justice and order, but Queen Caesar does not want us to be emotionless warriors. Our angel warriors' lifespan is much longer than that of ordinary divine river bodies, so. Listening to the other party's explanation, Lu Changning's mouth twitched slightly, and now he vaguely understood why Yen came to find him this time. Is love a blind date? I just visited Dino Computer at the Superseminary, and tonight at the airport, your combat power was only at the level of first to second generation super warriors, but now at least there is a level of first or even second generation divine bodies, and your lifespan is very close to that of angels. There are very few outstanding male gods in the universe, and unfortunately, you are one of them. Little boy, do you want to have a relationship with an angel? The kind that will never break up. The angel's beautiful eyes stared at Lu Changning. Regarding this, Lu Changning did not dodge, his fox-like eyes narrowed and he looked straight into the other person's eyes. Angelico looked so beautiful. Looking at her for a while without losing out. Science has shown that looking at more beautiful women can help prolong life. Besides, Angelico herself is not a peaceful ruler. Being stared at by Lu Changning so recklessly, Yen seemed a bit uneasy. By the time Lu Changning realized it, the angel in front of him had disappeared, leaving only the cold breeze blowing from the balcony. Hee, it's just a little girl, why pretend to be a big-tailed wolf? Lu Changning's fox eyes curved. Although Yen is 7,000 years old and the right arm of Holy Caesar, in terms of emotional experience, this angel is definitely a more innocent existence than Lu Changning. At least Lu Changning still has Qilin. Now Yen is 7,000 years old and has never been in a relationship before. Can he not be a novice? Otherwise, this angel's sister wouldn't have developed the bad habit of teasing people whenever there is something to do. He snaps his fingers and the Lamian noodles disappears from the table. Lu Changning gets up and walks into the room, ready to sleep. Tomorrow we have a date with Qilin. We need to go to bed early. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Angel Wake Up Service JPG. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Angel Wake Up Service. JPG. When Lu Changning fell asleep in the bedroom. In the upper clouds of the earth. Have you seen the power of the Milky Way? Angel Yen is on a call with Holy Kaisha to report on the current situation on Earth. I haven't seen it. Yen's answer stunned Kaisha. I have seen another male god, who is more outstanding than the current power of the Milky Way. He is also very powerful, and I cannot see through him. Yen transmitted the content of the meeting with Lu Changning to Kaisha. Oh. You can't even see through. Kaisha quickly received a message from Yen, and she looked up Yen and Lu Changning's first meeting with great interest. He is indeed an interesting male god. His body has a powerful biological field blocking your access. I estimate that his genes are at least at the level of quasi-third generation, which is quasi-god. His police girlfriend can only accompany him for 1,000 years at most. If he truly conforms to the justice of an angel, I think you can consider him as your male god. Child, it's time to get up. In a hazy moment, Lu Changning felt someone shaking his shoulder in his sleep. Who is it? Lu Changning opened his eyes in a daze and a pretty face appeared before his eyes. Yen. Lu Changning looked surprised, but he didn't expect that it was Angel Yen who woke him up. Angelico has folded her wings, wearing a white chiffon shirt on her upper body and simple jeans on her lower body. Youth, vitality, without losing beauty. How about being awakened by a beautiful angel, feeling pretty good, right? Yen chuckled lightly and stared at Lu Changning. As an elderly concubine who has lived for thousands of years, after returning to report last night, she deeply pondered and reflected on her previous timid retreat. It's really good. If only there was a hot breakfast. Lu Changning said something and opened the quilt while roast. He didn't care that Angel Yen had seen all of him. Lu Changning snapped his fingers. Angelico seemed to hear a faint bell ringing. When Angelico regained his senses, Lu Changning had already added an extra set of white casual clothes and a steaming breakfast at the dining table. A hint of surprise flashed in Angelico's eyes. What ability is this? Generating matter out of thin air. During this process, she did not even feel any presence of dark energy and dark planes. After finishing breakfast, Lu Changning walked into the bathroom and began to wash up. Angel Yen leaned against the door frame of the bathroom and looked at Lu Changning with interest. Everything that had happened before made Yen too interested. The manifestation of Lu Changning's ability is like a force that angels have always opposed void. If the known universe is compared to a super-large computer with a pile of data, then the void ability is like a bug in this program and computer. The void ability can freely modify data, modify permissions, and even define it as nothing. An anti-emptiness is antivirus software. For example, the existence of Guxiaoluan can prevent void from modifying permissions and data. This is also the reason why Guxiaoluan is so important as the power of the Milky Way in the supernatural universe. And in reality the power of Lu Changning's creation is truly a power similar to that of the void. As long as there is enough creative power, Lu Changning can freely modify and reshape the entire world. Of course, this force is different from the void, which requires reading, analyzing, and rewriting. The power of creation is to directly reshape the world without any process of reading or analyzing. And because the power of creation is protected by the system, he is not afraid of the power of the galaxy. Looking at Lu Changning, who was washing up, Angel Yan's eyes showed a strong curiosity. What kind of super gene is this? From the current perspective, Lu Changning's super genes are much more complex than she imagined, perhaps not inferior to the power of the Milky Way. Yan is more interested in Lu Changning. After a moment. Standing at the door changing shoes, Lu Changning always feels strange. Turning his head, he saw an angel with an innocent face following behind him. Lu Changning's mouth twitched as he said, "I'm going to have barbecue with Qilin. I'm also taking some angel with me. Would I really not be beaten to death by that Qilin lady?" Angelico put on a pitiful expression. "You are the only person I know on this planet, forget it, follow along." Lu Changning looked helpless. Even if he really doesn't let Yen follow him, will the other party yield? As is well known, Yen is one of the power ceilings in addition to top combat forces such as Karl, Kaisha, and Mogana. Even if this sister wants to follow Lu Changning, he has nothing to do. To be reasonable, if you advise Yen not to follow his leisure time, why not think about how to explain to Miss Qilin later? Half an hour later. At the entrance of the police station. Lu Changning leaned against the car door with a painful expression on his face. "Sai, wait a moment, how should we explain to Qilin? To be honest, it definitely won't work. It will get hammered, and then Qilin filed a lawsuit against her parents." Is it difficult to tell Qilin that I'm being targeted by an angel? That's bullshit. Thank you for inviting me. What should I do if I am in a supernatural state and deeply trapped in the Shura realm? Waiting online, it's quite urgent. Liang Star. The Cloud Sky Treasure Hall is one of the most important places on the entire Liang Star, second only to the Heavenly Tao Tower where the highest deity is located. Outside the main hall, the soldiers were orderly and energetic, guarding on both sides of the hall. They are the Imperial Guards, whose duty is to protect the goddess in the main hall of the Cloud Sky Treasure Hall. The middle-aged man was walking out of the magnificent tower and briskly towards the main hall, his weathered face filled with helplessness. At this point, pop, pop, pop. The sound of cramped footsteps echoed from behind the middle-aged man. The person who came is Yuanli, one of the 4 law enforcers of the Liang Star, and also a middle-aged man who walked out of the high tower and the capable assistant of the guardian Pan Zhen. How is the situation on the other side of the Styx River? Basically, it can be confirmed that their trajectory is the Chiwu stellar system. Yuanli quickly reported the information coefficients obtained from the investigation to Pan Zhen. That's right, it's Earth. Gluttony has a worm bridge on Pluto in the Milky Way, which was left by a former god from the Styx galaxy. The god from the Styx galaxy loves to study death the most. In recent years, there have been many wars on Earth, and gluttons want to use them to please their gods, so that was the instruction of Death Carl. General, is the goddess Rena still determined to go to Earth? Pan-Zhen didn't answer, and the helpless expression on his face already explained everything. Anyway, he couldn't persuade Rena anymore. Rena, whose full name is D. Rena, is currently the main deity of Liang Star and the granddaughter of D. Hongkuan. She belongs to the third generation of gods. The two of them looked towards the direction of the main hall and walked away quickly. At this point, Rena was sitting on the steps in a lifeless imperial uniform, holding her front skirt as a fan and constantly stirring it up. It's so hot. It's so hot. Why hasn't Pan-Zhen come yet? Rena is looking forward to this trip to Earth. From afar, seeing Pan-Zhen's helpless expression, Rena knew that this shooting journey should be in full swing. I'm going. I'm coming, I'm coming. Listening to the footsteps outside the main hall getting closer and closer, Rena was startled and instantly climbed up the steps. General Pan-Zhen is here. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Demons. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Demons. Iching, what's going on? When Pan-Zhen led Yuanli into the main hall, Rena had already risen from the ground and sat solemnly on the throne. Such a magnificent palace can no longer hold you, can it? Even though Rena's reaction was quick, she still couldn't escape Pan-Zhen's gaze. When she saw Rena in the main hall, who was eager to leave the Sun Star, Pan-Zhen suddenly became a little angry. Well, this is not the same thing. Your grandfather, don't always bring my grandfather with you. Rena interrupted what Pan-Zhen wanted to say next. Rena's grandfather, Emperor Hongkuan, was the main deity of the previous generation of Liang Star. He was an old monster at the same level as the space principal, who had established a just order with Holy Kaisha and, like Karl, was a phantom. Rena watched as Pan-Zhen's face became increasingly ugly and directly activated the rogue mode. I don't care, I don't listen. Anyway, I just want to go to the Earth Star. I'm not allowed to interfere in the affairs of the Tiandao Tower. I wrap up like a zongzi every day in the hall, and I can't stand it. Pan-Zhen looked at Rena, who was playing pranks, both angry and amused. In the end, he let out a sigh. Go ahead. We have reached an agreement with the Earth's Divine Academy, and I hope you won't regret it. The Grand Hall was instantly filled with Rena's cheers. Lu Chongning walked into the police station with Yen. Oh. Chongning, are you looking for Qilin again? A familiar old police officer greeted Lu Chongning. Yeah. Uncle Lu. Good afternoon. Tisk brother Ning actually brought his sister to find Sister Qilin this time, he's just a role model for us. Get lost. Lu Chongning reluctantly gave the approaching police officer a cold glance. The little police officer chuckled and didn't care at all. Passing through the hall, Lu Chongning quickly arrived at Qilin's work area. Two black-clad people were standing in front of Qilin's job position, seemingly handling some handover procedures. Now you have taken Lu Chuang away. Qilin coldly glanced at the two black-clothed people in front of her. The two black-clothed men knew they were wrong and didn't say much, so they turned around and left. What? Who's bothering you again, my lady? Lu Chongning sat rudely beside Qilin, who was full of anger. It's not because of that bastard. Following Qilin's hateful gaze, the door to the ward was opened, and Lu Chuang was led out by Ajay and Rose, with his attitude still as arrogant as ever. Although facing Rose and Ajay with a polite attitude, the gaze that swept over still carried a hint of provocation. I really dislike it. Lu Chongning nodded slightly, agreeing with Qilin's viewpoint. In his past life, although Lu Chongning did not pay much attention to the character of Lu Chuang, he also learned a lot about Lu Chuang's glorious deeds from many people. The role of Lu Chuang was not pleasing in the early stages. You can say that. Except for not doing any heinous things, Lu Chuang has almost delved into other fields and even broke the legs of his later teammate, colleague He Weilan. The reason why Lu Chuang was brought back to the police station by Qilin this time is because this guy harassed women and was stopped by Gu Xiaoluan, fighting on the street. It is precisely because of this that Lu Chuang was so despised by Sun Wukong. Otherwise, with Sun Wukong's temperament, he would never have driven Lu Chuang out of the team. It was precisely from then on that Lu Chuang slowly began to transform. Nova War God. Time and Space Rose. God River Sniper. Angel Yan's eyes showed a hint of interest. She didn't expect to come out with Lu Changning and encounter 3 holders of super genes. And Yan's opening successfully caught the attention of Qilin, who was feeling frustrated. As a woman, my intuition told Qilin a fact. The woman with blonde hair and blue eyes in front of me. She must crave Lu Changning's body. So, Qilin's unfriendly gaze turned to Lu Changning, who pretended to know nothing. Half an hour later. On the car. Qilin sat in the passenger seat of Lu Changning, her eyes full of resentment. Where is the agreed date? First is the woman with blonde hair and blue eyes, who claims to be an angel. Now there is another Du Qiangwei who claims to be a classmate of Lu Changning Junior High School and comes from relevant departments. He even claimed to be discussing business with Lu Changning. A good date has turned into a business conversation. Pooh. Men are all big pig hooves. The barbecue restaurant that Lu Changning ordered was not far from the police station and his own bookstore, so the few people quickly arrived at their destination. The decoration here is really nice. Yen and Rose watched the play without considering it too big, standing behind them and commenting. The waiter saw Lu Changning and asked for an appointment. A few people followed the waiter straight to the private room that Lu Changning had previously booked upstairs. Qilin naturally sat next to Lu Changning. On the other side is Rose, then Yen. After that, there is the process of ordering and serving dishes. After the 5 flavors of rice and 3 rounds of wine. Rose pondered and was about to talk to Lu Changning about the matter. Bang! Suddenly, a noisy sound came from outside the private room. Lu Changning was a bit stunned. The 3 women in the private room were also somewhat puzzled. Just as they were about to take a look at the noise outside the door, a virtual screen had already appeared in front of Lu Changning's eyes. Side Task 3. Evil Cult. Due to unknown reasons, the evil cult appeared in this time and space that should not have appeared. Please resolve this appearance of the evil cult as soon as possible before causing more casualties. Evil Demon. A desire race that exists in the world of extreme foxes, with the goal of destroying and killing, and devouring the happiness of others. P.S. Devouring the happiness of others is a setting added by the author. Task Reward. Character Level +1, Basic Cultivation Method for Evil Cultivators, Controllable, Green Reward Treasure Chest +1, and the ability to restore everything to its original state of creation, 1. Time. Seeing the task in front of her, Lu Changning's pupils suddenly contracted. Demon Cultivator. How can there be demons in the supernatural universe? How could that kind of thing happen when his Desire Grand Prix hasn't even started, and he hasn't even started to cultivate it? An ominous premonition suddenly rose in my heart. Qilin. Be careful. Quickly dodge. Before Qilin around him could react, Lu Changning pulled Qilin up from his side and pushed her towards Yen and Rose. Next second. Boom boom. The position where Lu Changning and Qilin were originally sitting instantly shattered the wall. A sturdy monster smashed the wall, appearing in the sight of several people. What's going on? Yen supported Qilin, who was still in shock, while Rose looked at the smoke and dust spreading around in disbelief, as if the unpleasant cry of gold and iron rubbing against each other sounded in the small private room. The smoke and dust quickly dissipated under intense exercise. Only then did everyone see clearly the current situation inside the store. A series of terrifying monsters with bone masks on their faces are wreaking havoc in the store. The monster's entire body is wrapped in a mysterious pattern of black mixed with green, and there is also a row of spikes on its face. Unlike the evil spirits in the extreme fox, the evil spirits in front of them no longer have a cheap leather sheath feeling, and their muscles are twisted and twisted all over, which is almost indistinguishable from the evil spirits crawling out of hell. Evil Devil. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Slug Fortress Demon Followers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Slug Fortress Demon Followers. Help. There's a monster. Don't leave me behind. Run quickly. When Qilin and Rose saw the scene opposite the big hole on the wall, they were all stunned, and Qilin's body began to tremble uncontrollably. The originally bustling barbecue restaurant has long been occupied by monsters. One by one, dressed in red armor and wielding a giant sword, the demonic disciples were wantonly destroying the shop, and one by one, the people died under the sword of the monster. Red-clad demon disciple. With the emergence of the red-clothed demons, a large number of soldiers and demons also appeared around the barbecue restaurant. Within the perception range of Lu Changning, a large number of evil demons are constantly appearing, and the field of evil demons is gradually taking shape. Evil Realm. Whenever an evil demon appears, the evil demon realm will also descend accordingly. The emergence of the evil demon realm often indicates that there is at least one boss-level evil demon disciple in this group of evil demons. This is the realm of demons. Lu Changning's expression was solemn, and the current situation no longer gave him time to think about whether these evil demons had never existed. The top priority is to solve the current troubles. Let's go. Lu Changning opened the door of the private room, and in the narrow corridor on the second floor of the barbecue restaurant, soldiers and demons were rampaging wildly. The soldiers and demons, seeing the four people who had just burst out of the box, began to rush towards Lu Changning's direction like beasts seeing food. Lu Changning watched as the evil demons rushed towards the private room, without hesitation, charging towards the outside of the store. Boom! Boom! A touch of deep blue creation power rippled on the surface of Lu Changning's body, instantly bouncing away the attack of the evil demon disciple. However, the number of soldiers and red-clad demons is quite high. Even though Lu Changning is currently a divine body, the progress is still a bit slow. Buzz-ding, two crisp sword sounds echoed from behind Lu Changning. Flying swords and sharp swords are of no particular order, like a runaway horse, instantly charging into the group of evil demons in front of them. The hard cement ground was fragile in front of the sharp blade, like tofu chunks, with cracks appearing one after another. Cluck cluck, like the piercing cries generated by metal friction, they once again emanate from the mouths of the demonic disciples. Looking at the magical scene before her, Qilin was protected by Rose and Yan in the middle, and her mouth widened. Originally, the blonde and blue-eyed Yan didn't really boast, what she said was true. She is really an angel. Looking at the snow-white wings spreading behind Yan, Qilin fell into chaos. Looking at Rose on the other side, the space around her rippled like waves on a calm water surface. A series of flying knives were thrown into it by Rose, and then the monsters rushing towards them were knocked down by the flying knives like cutting wheat. No way. It's still too slow. Lu Changning frowned, and now he needs to go outside quickly. He needs to know the situation outside and the types of boss demons that have appeared this time. Only by eliminating the boss demons that appeared can this disaster come to an end. Lu Changning removed the Desire driver from the system. Desire driver. Set. Lu Changning quickly inserted the zombie buckle into the Desire drive and twisted the knob of the zombie buckle. Crush out. Venom flowed out of the belt, and a virtual image appeared behind Lu Changning. Transform. Buzz. Accompanied by the roar of wild beasts, visible waves exploded and bounced away the soldiers and demons who rushed forward. Zombie. Ready. Fight. Prepare. Let's go to war. This is the armor scene in Dino 3. Yen looked at the armored soldier in front of him, his eyes full of brilliance. Accompanied by Lu Changning's transformation, his combat data and strength skyrocketed, reaching the peak of the second-generation divine body. Next, follow me closely and we'll rush out. Lu Changning quickly slid the black grip of the zombie destroyer. Poison charge. Venom boiling. Tactical break. Strategic cutting. The next moment. Accompanied by the intense roar of the chainsaw, a shocking scene appeared that instantly shattered the wave of monsters rushing towards them, creating a vacuum zone leading to the downstairs area. Take advantage of now. Lu Changning took the lead and rushed to the front of the four, constantly cleaning up the evil demons who came forward. When Lu Changning ran out of the barbecue restaurant with 3 people, the scene outside was even more heart-wrenching than inside the restaurant. Almost half of the Great Gorge city is fragmented, and people are all fleeing in a panic under the pursuit of evil spirits. Fire! 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 Dense artillery fire almost spread throughout the city, and fully armed soldiers were working hard to rescue the people. Bullets poured wildly on the demons, but ordinary attacks seemed unable to break through their skin defenses. Looking towards the position of the sky, 4 people saw a huge creature in the sky. That monster was entirely formed by mollusks, and the demon wandered slowly in the air. That was the Slug Fortress demon. Seeing the human purgatory in front of me, whether it was Rose or Yen Quan, who was used to seeing the big scene, felt a bit at a loss. Is this a demon? Angelico's face was ugly. Done. Juxia City is done. Rose looked at the human purgatory in front of her, as if she had lost her strength, and couldn't stop taking several steps back. At the moment Qilin saw this scene, her whole body had already fallen into a state of dullness. I can't finish it. Lu Changning stared closely at the evil demon in the Slug Fortress above his head. This field is developed because of that thing. As long as that big guy is solved, I have a way to restore it to its original state. Upon hearing Lu Changning's words, Rose's gaze turned fervently towards Lu Changning. What should we do? Lu Changning looked at a large building in the city. We need to find a way to get close to that big guy. Otherwise, we won't be able to get close to that big guy. Only by solving that big guy's expansion in this area will it end. That's exactly what I'm saying. Cluck, cluck, cluck. The appearance of the 4 quickly caught the attention of the evil demons on the street, and a large number of them rushed towards the direction of the 4 again. Be careful. Rocket shells. In the distance came the cries of soldiers. Immediately after, the 4 of them saw a rocket with a long tail flame ejecting from the distance, and then exploded in front of the group of demons not far away. The weaker soldiers and demonic disciples immediately decreased by half. I'll go take a look elsewhere first. Also, I'll request support from Queen Caesar. Yen nodded at Lu Changning and gestured, his wings flapping behind him, soaring into the sky. Rose, take Qilin with you first. Leave this to me. Lu Changning looked at the large number of evil demons constantly rushing towards here and said to Rose. But. No, but. Leave everything to me. Please trust me. Lu Changning stared at Rose with resolute words, leaving no room for her to refute. Looking at the bully, Buffa, who was guarded by 1 man and unable to overcome 10,000 obstacles, Rose nodded solemnly and decided to take Qilin to a safe area before proceeding. Sent away Qilin and Rose. System. Help me exchange props. I need permission to use the thruster deduction once. End of this chapter. Chapter 10 Rena. I must have come to a fake Earth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Rena. I must have come to a fake Earth, I was pigeoned. In the mall not far from the barbecue restaurant, Gu Xiaoluan sat in a depressed seat in the private room of the coffee shop, and the coffee in front of him had already cooled through. He let out a sigh. Rose let go of his pigeon, and he waited for Rose in the coffee shop for a full hour. Finally, Rose only replied that the meeting was cancelled due to other reasons. She obviously invited me first. Gu Xiaoluan opened the private door of the coffee shop. However, in the moment the door was opened, Gu Xiaoluan's movements froze in place, and everything that happened before him was unbelievable. The CAFA has long been deserted, and wherever my gaze touches, there are monsters. What's going on here? Gu Xiaoluan's actions caught the attention of the monsters, and the black monsters with mysterious dark green patterns all over their bodies immediately turned around. And it rushed towards him like a wild beast that was willing to eat. Help me! Gu Xiaoluan saw this scene and didn't hesitate to turn around and run. After running a distance, Gu Xiaoluan stopped panting heavily. Ha! Didn't catch up. Gu Xiaoluan glanced behind and the monster was left far behind. Although he doesn't have much combat power, his super genes still give him physical fitness, allowing him to rest assured. Bang! Gu Xiaoluan stumbled and smashed open the collapsed mall gate. What's going on here? The end of the world. The city has almost been completely occupied by demons, and fully armed soldiers are rescuing the people. In the sky, a giant monster slowly swims like an aerial fortress. Seeing the scene before him, Gu Xiaoluan was even more frightened and his legs became weak. The reaction of the demonic disciples outside the mall when they saw Gu Xiaoluan was even more terrifying, as they abandoned ordinary people and rushed towards Gu Xiaoluan. For demons, people like Gu Xiaoluan with super genes are more attractive than ordinary people. Who will come? Who will save me? Monsters are charging from all directions. Gu Xiaoluan was almost desperate. At this critical moment. Boom boom. A golden pillar of light appeared in the sky, connecting heaven and earth, and the radiance poured down from the sky. Next second. The golden light instantly fell in front of Gu Xiaoluan, and this majestic force instantly made the earth within dozens of miles tremble. After being violently compressed, the air erupted with earth-shattering roars, and the originally fierce and evil demons around it were instantly dispersed and turned into nothingness, disappearing. Ahahaha! Earthlings tremble. I am the incarnation of the sun. Your goddess. However, halfway through the conversation, it suddenly came to an abrupt end. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Is this the earth? Impossible, impossible, I must have come to a fake earth. Rena stared blankly at the city before her, covered in flames and evil spirits. She couldn't believe it and was completely dumbfounded. Gu Xiaoluan also had a dull expression on his face. What did he see just now? A woman descended from the sky, her entire body covered in black armor, except for her head. The skirt armor at her waist moved with the wind, complemented by the golden light in her beautiful eyes. At this moment, Rena seemed like a deity descending to the world. No matter how beautiful the woman who claims to be a goddess in front of him is, Gu Xiaoluan has no intention of admiring it now. Because those demons, like greedy beasts, surged towards Rena and him again. Sleeping trough. What are these things? Rena exclaimed in surprise. Earthlings over there. What's the situation here? Rena looked at Gu Xiaoluan behind her as she dealt with the evil demon who rushed forward. Gu Xiaoluan has accepted the fact of the end of the world and is stumbling up from the ground. I don't know either. I just came out of the coffee shop, and there were monsters everywhere. I hadn't figured out what was going on before you appeared. Gu Xiaoluan was a bit overwhelmed, and now he didn't even know how his parents were doing. Just as Rena was feeling lost in the face of frustrated Gu Xiaoluan, a familiar voice came. What do I do? Xiaoluan. Gu Xiaoluan looked up in surprise, but saw a soldier wearing purple armor walking towards this side. With the fierce roar of the chainsaw, those demonic beings, resembling locusts, easily exploded and dissipated into the air under the slashing of zombie disruptors. Are you? Gu Xiaoluan's brain is still a bit unresponsive. What's going on? You don't even know me anymore. After standing still for 2 seconds, Gu Xiaoluan widened his eyes. Boss. Lu Changning is the oldest in the dormitory, so he is the leader of the entire dormitory. However, due to his internship later on, Lu Changning moved out to live on his own. Tisk, why are you so embarrassed, kid? Didn't you brag to me yesterday and awaken your superpowers? And by the way, how could you be here, kid? There's no dormitory. Second, fourth, we're all masturbating together. Lu Changning hugged Gu Xiaoluan's shoulder. Having been classmates with Gu Xiaoluan for 3 years in college, Lu Changning knows that Gu Xiaoluan is not a person with strong psychological resilience. At this moment, Gu Xiaoluan appears confused and helpless, clearly on the brink of collapse. Lu Changning will not look down on Gu Xiaoluan, this is human nature. During this period, Gu Xiaoluan had not yet grown into the dominant force of the Milky Way. Gu Xiaoluan scratched his head. I was stood up by someone. But compared to this. Boss. What's going on here? Lu Changning chopped the evil demon who rushed forward with a knife, smacking his lips in pain. This matter is a bit complicated. I will explain it to you later. The top priority is to first solve the current situation. By the way, when did you meet the goddess, kid? I won't introduce you. Speaking, Lu Changning looked at Lena. Before Gu Xiaoluan could answer, Lena took the initiative to respond. Hello. I am your goddess Lena. Lena. Lu Changning blinked his eyes. Is this the future captain of the Xiongbing company in front of us? So the golden light that fell from the sky before was her. Lu Changning came here precisely because he saw the golden light that embodies heaven and earth, but unexpectedly met Gu Xiaoluan. The light of the sun, Lena. You should be from earth, right? Do you know me? Lena was surprised. Of course, I have had contact with the Chaos Hen Academy and I have learned some news from them, said Lu Changning casually. Let me introduce myself. I'm on my way to Changning. What should we do now? Lena looked at Lu Changning, the guy in front of her clearly knew more than she did. Lu Changning looked towards the commodity building that was not far away and towered into the sky. We need to go up there, only by getting close can we get close and destroy that big guy. As long as that big guy dissipates, everything can be restored to its original state. Lena followed Lu Changning's gaze and saw the Slug Fortress demon in the sky. Okay. Goddess, I'll go with you. End of this chapter.